Hello. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the USC Department of Regulatory and Quality Sciences Spring 2024 Admission Information Session. I hope you're all doing well. And thank you again for taking the time to join us today. So my name's Michelle Wang, and I'm the Program Specialist for Recruitment and Advisement here in the Department of Regulatory and Quality Sciences. I'm also joined by several of our faculty and staff members, and you'll hear from all of us today as well. So let's get started. Here's what our agenda looks like. So during this session, we hope to provide you with a comprehensive overview of our programs, excuse me, the career paths available and the experiential training opportunities available as well. We'll also discuss some of the research opportunities, our admission requirements and application deadlines, and all the resources that are available to support your academic and professional growth here. If anyone has questions during our presentation, please feel free to type them in the chat function. Our team will be answering them throughout today's session, and we'll also have a few minutes for a live Q&A in the end for those of you who would like to wait until the end to ask. So without further ado, I'll hand the mic over to Dr. Anju Pasipasi.
Well, hello, everyone. Thank you, Michelle. It's great to be with we all today. And yes, my name is Unju Pasipasi, and I am the chair of the Department of Regulatory and Quality Sciences. And I am also a member of the faculty here. So I teach a number of courses in our program. Next, please. This is our website, and I would direct all of you to explore our website because it has a lot more information there than what we are able to provide you today. But next slide, please. But really, the aim of our program, the vision of our program, is to develop skilled professionals for regulated sectors to shape the future of global health. And our mission is to provide unparalleled education and experiential training to empower current and future professionals engaged in the developing and commercializing regulated health products. Next, please. We have 6 graduate streams. We have a master's in regulatory science, which is our kind of a broad degree program. We also have masters in management of drug development, and this is for those who are interested in the earlier part of the drug development process. It's essentially focusing on the translational science aspects, from basic research to translational research, all the way to early development, what we might call proof of concept arena. The Master's in Medical Product Quality focuses on the quality aspects of both drug and device development. And this takes into consideration the complex supply chain of our products, which are sourced from across the world to develop your drugs and your devices. And as it becomes more complicated, there are really more career opportunities. And Dr. Susan Bain oversees this program. And then she also oversees the next one, the Regulatory Management, Master's in Regulatory Management. And this program is really for those who already have a terminal degree at the doctoral level. So for MDs, PharmDs, and PhDs who would like to enter the regulated space. It's a kind of it's both a master's with a little bit of a professional twist to it. And then finally, our Doctor of Regulatory Science program, or DRSC program, is for those who are already working in the industry or in the regulated field, and they have experience, somewhere around 10 years of experience, and in the middle to upper management positions, who would like to come back and get their doctorate degree in advanced education and original research. And then we have various certificate programs. And these certificate programs, they are each 12 units, and they can be rolled up into the master's program. So, next, please. And we're so excited to announce that this fall, we are going to be launching a new master's program, MS in Clinical Trial Management. Clinical trial arena is an area of really a huge demand and lots of opportunities. So we are launching it this fall. It's not quite up on our website, so this is kind of a sneak preview to let you guys know this is happening. Next. This provides a list of some of our classes, and our curriculum consists of a diverse set of offerings so that students can choose between quality, devices, biologics, and even food and dietary supplements. And individual programs will be composed of core courses and electives to really customize the program and align it with individuals' interest and what they visualize as their career path. Next, please. What does the future hold? Well, we think that the future is quite bright for folks who are interested in this field. The demand for regulatory professionals is estimated to increase year over year for the foreseeable future. Demand for regulatory professionals is well above the expected increase in most other scientific and technical fields. And, good thing is that everything in terms of supply and demand is in our favor, and that there is a mismatch between job postings and those who are available to fill those jobs. And there is a growing demand for regulatory professionals trained in international topics, all of the areas that we really can say that we have strength in. Next, please. Where are the jobs? We often talk about industry, but the career ecosystem is broader than just industry. As you can see in this diagram, we are talking about paths that include working at the regulatory agencies. In fact, a number of our graduates are in the not only at the US FDA, but FDAs all over the world. You can also work at contract research organizations, clinical trial sites, small startup companies, as well as even venture capital firms for those who are interested in that area. And then there are so many nonprofit organizations, especially patient organizations. And the mission of everyone within this ecosystem is to bring new medical products to patients who are in need all over the world. Next, please. Next, please. And we don't only need the workforce to meet the demands of today's field, but also we need a global workforce to develop, manufacture, and market therapeutic products of tomorrow. Next, please. And that could include, products that are more customized or personalized in the area of precision medicine, wearables, and mobile apps. Everyone carries around, our mobile apps and wearables, combination products, connected devices, AI-driven closed-loop systems that all really requires kind of, different expertise like cybersecurity and machine learning. So those of you who might have expertise in engineering, we would love to have you. Those of you who have expertise in computer science, there are opportunities for you in addition to the kind of the traditional life science background. Next, please. I'm including this because not only is there a high demand, but the profession pays quite well. This is from the 2022 survey. Next, please. And you can see that the you know, the salaries are pretty high. It's a pretty lucrative career. Of course, it requires hard work. And you can see there is a clear vertical trajectory. So from associate to specialist to manager to director to vice president, if you are hardworking and you find your way into this space, there is really a vertical trajectory waiting for you. Next, please. We offer master's and doctoral degrees as well as certificate degrees, and you can see that when I was young and I went to industry for the first time, a lot of my peers, my colleagues really didn't have a master's degree in regulatory science. We kind of learned on the job. But now the companies are really looking to hire those with specialized training. So you can see that if you were to enter the arena now, you will be competing with others who already have master's degrees. Next, please. What makes our program unique? You can see around us here, we have our wonderful faculty. All faculty have 20 or more years of industry experience, and many are still involved in working with the industry. All of our guest speakers, and we have hundreds of them, are from industry and who are not only subject matter experts, but they are very current with their knowledge. Strong relationships with industry to help students get internships and jobs. Our courses are held on weekends and meet about every 3 weeks. And that allows our students to work during the week on experiential training or internships or even full-time jobs. We have the ability, as I mentioned before, to customize the program to meet your needs, but also you can be both either a full-time student or a part-time student. And experiential training, we'll talk more about that in a little bit, because we really think that the idea of learning in the classroom and then applying it in internships or industry projects or translational science consulting center or the regulatory research center will really solidify your learning with us. Next, please. And of course, all of that is led by our faculty. We have full-time faculty adjuncts, secondary appointments, and also invited speakers. And our wonderful staff, next, please. A few of them are here with us, and the rest you see when you're in our program. And I'm going to now turn it over. You've heard me speaking about Dr. Susan Bain, and here she is. Susan, over to you.
Thank you, Dr. Pacifici. So first, I want to welcome everybody today. It's great to have people that are interested in pursuing careers in our areas or furthering their education. For those of you who might already be working in the area of regulatory or quality. Next slide, please. So I'm going to talk to you about a couple of programs that we have here at USC in the Regulatory and Quality Science Department. And one of them is our TRACS program, and that's an acronym for Team-Based Regulatory and Quality Solutions. And what that is it's a program where industry brings us a problem or an opportunity that they don't have the time or the resources or maybe the background to work on, and they need some temporary help getting them through their issue. So these are usually 1 semester type projects, and what we do is assemble a team of 4 to 6 students, and there'll be a faculty advisor as well that's assigned to the team, and faculty meets with students once a week. All of us meet with the sponsor of the project once a week, and we work on their project. And at the end of the semester, we will have a deliverable depending on what the project is, and we will do an oral presentation. If they are someplace locally that we can get to, we will go on site to deliver the presentation. This works really well as sort of an internship type opportunity because it's about 5 months in length, and it gives the companies a chance to know you a chance to know the company, and also to work on a real world problem or opportunity that the company needs help with. So it is something that is actually going on at their company. It's a need that they have, and we are trying to help them accomplish what they're looking for, kind of like a boutique consulting type idea, really. So it's a win-win for everyone. So the company wins because they get the project completed. The students win because they learn how to work with a company, have weekly meetings, goals, objectives, deliverables, and actually can put this ultimately on their resume or CV as well. So the kinds of projects that we've done in the past are range, again, it depends on the company. If it's a medical device company, it could be something about, helping them we've done a actual registration for a new product internationally. We've worked on validation reports. We've worked on data analysis. On the drug side, we've written TPPs, so product profiles that'll go into the submission and work with product development. We'll do market research. We'll do clinical trial research. It just depends on what the need is. So right now we've got 5 of these projects going on this semester with various partners I'll talk about in a minute. But as you can see here, this is really a combination of work with SC, with our department, and the corporate partner liaison. And we ask each student on the team to commit to 12 to 15 hours a week. So it really is like a part-time job. It's not for the faint of heart, that's for sure. And there are pretty high expectations, but I think there's a lot of reward at the other end. Next slide, please. So these are company names. You can see some are duplicated, and that's because they've given us multiple projects. As a matter of fact, UU Pharma that you see here has placed 2 more projects with us. We've got 2 projects going on right now with Dexcom. You may have heard of them, the glucose instrument. So we're in talks with some major pharmas right now for projects that'll begin this summer and this coming fall. So stay tuned for those. Next slide, please. So the other program I wanted to tell you about is something that I know people are interested in, and that's our scholarship program. And the scholarship funding comes partially from the school, partially from donors, and partially from these companies that contract with us for the TRACS programs. So the named scholarships that you see here are named, the first one is in the name of a person who was in our doctorate program, and unfortunately she passed away before she was able to complete the doctorate, but that's what that one is. And then we have the department funded scholarships, and then the industry sponsored scholarships are those companies that work with us through the TRACS program. So what we do is we will give named scholarships in the name of the company to students. Scholarships generally are $5,000, and yes, you can apply more than once for a scholarship. So if you get a scholarship once, you may apply again. Next slide. All right, so I will now turn it over to Dr. Benson Kuo, and he'll talk to you a little bit about a different kind of consulting opportunity we have in our department. Benson?
Thank you, Dr. Bing. So until I will go and start. So I would like to use this diagram to show that our program is a unique one. When you compare to other programs in the States, we have courses on the weekends, as Dr. Prasipacy mentioned, and you probably didn't realize how profound impact for your preparation for the career, because that would allow you to work as an intern during the weekday. So Dr. Ben just mentioned about the tracks program, and I would like to talk about some small consulting services. We engage some small projects, especially for international students. Once you accept to the program, then you can participate in-house internship program during weekdays, and that will enrich your experiential experience, and also you can put this experience on your CV and make you more competitive. And there are two numbers I'd like you to remember. First is number 9. By regulation, you are not allowed to work outside the university program in the industry as an intern unless you have stayed in the school for 9 months. So the TRES program and the consulting projects allow you, during your first 9 months stay in the US, you can work on regulatory projects. And then you will probably go and find summer internship after 9 months, or even internship opportunity during your second year. And after you graduate, then there's another important number for you to remember is 3, because our USC program is so unique. Our STEM designated program will allow an international graduates to stay legally in the States for 3 years while they acquire the optional practical training. And of course, during this time, you will transition to another immigration status and allow you to stay in the States longer. And many of our international graduates would to stay in the States after to acquire a H-1B visa, and also some of them has acquired legal status to live in the States. Next. So besides the TRES program, our consulting service is eligible to all the reg sci students. So either your domestic students or international students, you're allowed to participate in these projects. We ask you to devote 10 hours a week to work on the project and participate in the journal club weekly on Wednesdays. And you will make a 1-hour presentation to participate in the journal club. And right after journal club, we will hold weekly consulting meeting to review the projects from last year. And most of our projects come from university investigator. So we have set up a quality system for their device, will make pre-IND or Q submissions. And we function as monitors for some clinical trials. And we also conduct some research in the regulatory intelligence arena. Next. So with these tracks and these small consulting internship, we like you, during the weekday, you can experience a corporate life, and you must learn how to work as a team with others, which is very critical for your success in regulatory affairs. The journal club will allow you to cultivate public speaking skills and talents. For these tracks program or internship program, we want you to transition to industry internships and eventually the full-time positions. Where I mentioned that this is especially advantage for our international students because you are not allowed to work outside of university for your first 9 months residency in the US. Lastly, this consulting service will allow for some students graduate from the program, but still transition to a full-time position. We offer a buffer for these graduates who is still looking for full-time job, but you can start your OPT by interning in the consulting service. So thank you for your attention. I'd like to turn next to Dr. Liberty.
Okay, great. Hi, everybody. So I'm Dr. Larry Liberty, and in addition to being on faculty, I'm the director of what's called the D.K. Kim Center for International Regulatory Science, so the Kim Center, as we say. And the Kim Center is unique. We sit within the Department of Regulatory and Quality Sciences, and we have a particular mission. And next slide. So we're talking about regulatory science. And how do we make regulatory science something even more practical than what you've been exposed to already today? And the mission of the center is to take regulatory science and apply it to regulatory and health solutions around the world. And that means interacting with not only industry, other academics, but also regulators who are in charge of managing the authorization and the control of devices and medicines around the world. So regulatory science forms a foundation of how they operate, and going hand in hand with how companies operate, as you've heard from Dr. Bain and Dr. Kuo, how important it is to have regulatory science experience within the industry. One of the things that the Kim Center is recognized for is being able to bring its research-based activities to the actual stakeholders, to the audience of companies and agencies. And we do that by meeting the needs with our students. We meet the needs of the professionals, as I mentioned, as these different stakeholders. We do provide training in regulatory science to people with a scientific background. And one of the great things, as you've already heard, is that this is another opportunity for you to get involved in collaborative research and experiential opportunities, so that depending on your level of expertise, there may be opportunities for you to interact with us and to pursue interests that you may have. Next slide. So the way the Kim Center is organized is at the heart of the Kim Center is what we call the Regulatory Innovation Laboratory. So this is where, for instance, doctoral dissertation work comes together with the research teams that you've heard about from Dr. Kuo and Dr. Bain. We have fellows that participate in research. Students do different kinds of capstone projects, and I'll share a few of those with you in just a minute. We have a project called the FR Path Project, which is kind of a unique database that students get involved with. So it's great to have all of this information, but unless we can use it in a practical way where appropriate, obviously there are certain confidential things we can't use, but where we can extend its reach, that's where the capacity building and the connections cluster elements come together. Capacity building, we have outreach to regulatory agencies. I was just down in Latin America last week and met with about 15 different agencies at a conference there, and they're very interested in interacting with the way that we do our research. We are what's called an APEC, Asia Pacific Economic Cooperation Training Center, a center of excellence for device training, which is a wonderful way of extending our knowledge to regulators and other stakeholders from around the world. And as you've heard about some of these other research-based teams under the CTSI initiative, On the right-hand side, you see connections. We publish, we have posters and abstracts that go out. And we foster academic relations with other universities, and we're developing even more local forums for our graduates and other interested professionals in all across the United States. Now, you've heard Dr. Kuo talk about the Translational Regulatory Consulting Center as an opportunity for you to get involved in doing certain kinds of research. But we also, within the Kim Center, have something called the Regulators Solution Center, and that focuses specifically on requests from regulatory agencies around the world to help support their particular needs. Those needs might be in training, they might be in developing new tools. So this is another way that you could get involved with supporting regulators all around the world by using regulatory science initiatives. And lastly, the next slide. Just a couple of examples of the kind of projects that some of our students are involved with. So for instance, the first student is involved in assessing regulatory science educational programs across the US and Canada and even parts of Latin America. And this is going to be extending into a collaboration with some other external organizations to build on this database that she's created. Rusha is using a very, very interesting technique called system theoretic process analysis, which is a way of identifying where a system can go wrong. And so there's a concept called regulatory reliance, and she's applying STPA to reliance pathways. Jordan is looking at something called ICH guidelines. We've already mentioned ways of aligning activities, and ICH is one of those international initiatives. And what he's looking at is if we were to align ICH guidelines to the medicine development process, are there any implications for the inclusion of unhoused populations? So does ICH foster or maybe limit the inclusion of unhoused populations in drug development? Kind of a very interesting concept. Nicholas is working with the FRPath content and using that as a learning tool so he can learn more about these particular specialized pathways. And Sue Young is very interested in dental products. And so she's looking at the regulatory classification of dental products in the US and comparing those to the United Kingdom, because not all of this is harmonized or aligned. So seeing the differences can give us some ideas about how regulatory science can inform things like classifying dental products. And lastly, Victoria Magyar is a doctoral student, and she's looking at regulatory gaps in biosimilar approvals. And specifically, she's comparing the way that biosimilars are authorized in the United States, but comparing this to certain key countries across Latin America and the Americas. So with that, I hope I've given you some ideas about a unique opportunity that we have within the department through the DK Kim Center and how we foster collaborative research with our students. Thanks. So I'll pass it on to Roxy.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Dr. Liberty. Hi, my name is Roxy Tratarian. I am a two-time Trojan myself and a project administrator of regulatory science research here within our department. And I'm going to tell you about yet another co-curricular opportunity that supplements your learning, which is the regulatory science research team. Next slide, please. So here's our wonderful research team. Actually, some of the student projects you just heard about from Dr. Liberty sit within our research team. So I'll tell you a little bit more about our group. So this is a group of very motivated undergraduate and graduate students. Our students do not conduct wet lab research with the lab coat. However, they do focus on creating and uncovering new knowledge about a topic or issue within the regulated space. So our students have pursued research that's aligned with their own interests. You've heard about some projects. Some other projects include broadly look at the inclusion of diverse and underrepresented populations in clinical trials, or even around the promotion and advertising of regulated substances. Our students develop a research question and come up with a methodology under the guidance of a faculty mentor, and then they execute that methodology to draw some conclusions. So what's really cool is that students get one-on-one time with a faculty advisor and a staff administrator like myself and 2 other colleagues. And the entire research team meets regularly, about bi-weekly, usually as a group. And of note, we like to make these meetings fun, and we do feed students. Next slide, please. So here you'll see some of the objectives that objectives of being part of the research team. Some outcomes include being an expert on a particular topic, which allows graduates to pursue careers in that area. Student researchers prepare abstracts, present posters, and give oral presentations at national and international meetings. Actually, this spring, we have at least 8 students pursuing a conference or presenting a poster at a national conference, which is really cool. And some students have even gone on to prepare manuscripts. So as you can imagine, this is a great opportunity because it adds substance to your CV in a demonstrable way. So students build upon the hard skills that you learn from your coursework, and then you supplement those hard skills with soft skills, such as presenting to a team, and leadership skills and team building, all of which you can see from the objectives on the screen here. Next slide, please, Michelle. So here's my contact information. I hope that when you join our program that you reach out to me for more information if you want to learn more about what our team is all about. And that is all for me. Michelle, I'll turn it back to you.
Thank you, Roxy. Okay, everyone. So we hope to get you excited about what it's like to be a graduate student here at USC. And next up, I'll share some interesting facts and perks of being part of the Trojan family. So here's some background information on our university. USC offers over 400 world-class graduate programs across 20 professional schools and our distinguished liberal arts college. We have a population of over 28,000 graduate and professional students representing all 50 states and more than 135 countries. And another fun fact is that USC has one of the highest international student populations in the US for the past 15 years. And this is what makes USC a very culturally diverse campus. There are also many perks to being a graduate student here. So our 2 campuses are located just a few miles near downtown LA, which means you have access to great internship and job opportunities. It's very easy to build your network, especially in the regulatory, technology, and business industries. It's also easy to get around with public transportation. Our Expo line has 2 USC stops, and you can always go to the beach or downtown to connect to the other lines here. And there's always something to do in Los Angeles. For sports fans, you can go to one of the Lakers or Dodgers games, and the Rams are also playing at our football stadium. USC is also well known for our strong alumni base. We have over 375,000 Trojans worldwide, which allows you to connect with our Trojan network across the globe. And that also gives you an edge in the job and internship search because many of our alums hire directly from USC. Our average graduate student to faculty ratio is 8:1. So our students receive a lot more attention, and that helps you to be more engaged. USC is a tier 1 research institute. So as you heard from Roxy earlier, our department has our own student research team. And as Dr. Quo discussed as well, we have a consulting center that offers plenty of opportunities for you to get involved. So hopefully that got everyone excited about USC and being a prospective graduate student in our program. Next, please. Okay, so now that you've learned more about our different programs, the career and all the experiential learning opportunities that are available, we hope that you are interested in applying. So let's look at the admission requirements. First, every applicant is required to complete the USC graduate application. We require 2 letters of recommendation that has been completed by your recommenders. We also require your current resume or CV showing your most recent educational and work experience. We also want your personal statement that addresses your interest in this specific program or degree, and your official transcripts issued directly by the registrar from the schools that you've attended after high school. And for international students, you do need to meet the university's English proficiency requirements. All of the English test scores must be sent directly from the testing agency. And upon our admission committee's review, some students may be invited for an interview. Next, please. Okay, so here's a list of what to prepare before you apply. So in summary, for international students, you do need to schedule your English tests if you still need to take them, and this includes the TOEFL and the IELTS. Second, we require your resume. So please have an updated resume ready to go that includes your relevant work, education, and extracurricular experiences. Third, contact your recommenders. So if you have your recommenders in mind already, it definitely helps to give them a heads up about the process and that you'll be requesting a rec letter through the application system. And fourth, again, it's very important to confirm our application deadlines, especially for international students. You have an earlier deadline due to the visa processing times and how long the university takes to issue your I-20s. Next, please. Okay, so we just want to go over some of the English proficiency requirements for international students real quick. If you are an international student, we encourage you to review USC's English language proficiency requirements just to determine whether you still need to take one of the tests. The TOEFL and IELTS and PTE scores are valid if they were taken within 2 years of your intended start term. So, for example, for fall 2024, the university would require your English test scores to be dated August 2022 or after. And say if you are applying for spring 2025, the university requires your scores to be dated January 2023 or after. And just as a note, please make sure that your scores are sent electronically to USC directly from that testing agency. Paper scores are not accepted. All right, next, please. Okay, so our application deadlines are on the screen. They can also be found on our website. Our master's and graduate certificate programs are open for admission year-round, which means you can apply for the spring, summer, and fall. And we understand that everyone's schedule is different. So for some students who graduate in the spring, others might graduate in the fall. So right now we're currently in the middle of our fall admission cycle, which means students who have completed your bachelor's or will be graduating with your bachelor's before fall are all welcome to apply. And our application deadlines, as well as the actual application link, can also be found on our department website. And I'll drop that in the chat just so you can access it directly. All right, so I will hand the mic over to Lee Grant, and she'll share a little more about just some application tips and our career and professional support.
Okay. Thank you, Michelle. So I just have a couple of additional tips, just piggybacking off of what Michelle had already told you. As far as the personal statement goes, try to keep it brief, 1 page if you can, and try to stay on topic. I know it's really tempting when you start to write about yourself to start spilling your entire life story. We receive a lot of applications. We want to know what about our program interests you? What about yourself makes you a good fit for our program? You know, a lot of people have, you know, strenuous backgrounds, a lot of kicked puppies, and I want to hear what makes regulatory the right, you know, the right choice for you. With letters of recommendation, as Michelle said, try to do that early. That's usually the thing that slows down your application and our review. You tell your recommenders that you're going to send that to them, and then, you know, it's a week past the deadline and I still don't have it. So make sure you do that as early as possible. And next, communicate with us. Always check your email. If we're sending reminders, or you might even receive information from the USC Graduate Admissions Office if your application has been flagged as missing something. You know, we're always trying to reach out to you to make sure that we have all of your information, your transcripts, everything. So just keep checking your email and follow up with us too if you haven't heard anything for a while. So next, I'm going to talk about some resources for our international students. As you heard, we do have a lot of research opportunities, especially at the Consulting Center for our international students, but definitely go onto the Office of International Services, or OIS, their website. That's going to be your bread and butter for resources for international students, you know, talking about new students, what to expect, current students, how to gain US employment, whether it's the internships or CPT or OPT. They also have advisors, walk-in advising hours. They're definitely, check them out, pore over that website. It's nothing but good information. Like I said, for CPT and OPT, Dr. Kuo talked a little bit about OPT, and that as if you graduate from a STEM degree, you do get that 3 years of optional practical training where you get to stay in the US. But we also do CPT, which is while you're a student on campus. And I believe he also said you need to be here for at least 9 months before you can start doing that. But once you do have that ability, we offer a class, which is RSI 596, where you essentially get credit for doing CPT. Say, you know, you've been here for your 2 semesters and now you've got an internship for the summer. You can actually take RSI 596 and get 1 unit credit for that. And you can do that 4 times. So if you manage to get, you know, a great internship and they want you back for fall and they want you back for spring, you can rack up 4 units of your required unit amount to graduate just doing internships. So that's an excellent resource for you as well. So for student and alumni career and professional support, not only for international students, but for domestic as well, we have so many opportunities through this program. We have our annual career event, employer info sessions. We have a pretty active LinkedIn, internal job board, and we do some interview preparation workshops like mock interviews and resume workshops. We really do our best to make you as prepared as possible. So sorry, I'm going through this so fast because I want to give us some time for Q&A. We do have Connect SC, which if you can find it at careers.usc.edu/jobs. They changed the link. But this is an internal job board that's just for USC students and alumni. Now, this isn't just dedicated to our program. This is for USC as a whole, but you can still find some great things here. As far as our program, like I said, we do the workshops. We held mock interviews or resume critiques where you actually get our faculty who, like we said before, are industry professionals, and they were hiring managers. They know what they're looking for, and they can give you some really excellent feedback on what to put, what to withhold for your resumes, which you should definitely take advantage of. We also have the employer info sessions. So we try to hold a few each term where we basically have an hour, a lunch hour with a company representative over Zoom where they get to talk about their company, any positions they have available, internships coming up, just the company culture, answer any of your questions. And it can be really insightful and really helpful just to make those connections with these employers. So these are a few that we've had before. Coming up, we do have applied medical is going to be our next one, and just we've got them coming. So it's a really good opportunity to sit down on those employer info sessions. We also do the annual career event where maybe you missed out on that employer info session, they'll definitely be there at the career event. And then you actually get to see them in person. So this ranges between 5 to 10 employers at a time. So one year might be a little more hectic. You're talking to everybody. Another year might be a little more one-to-one where you get to speak to an employer briefly for like 20 minutes at a time. So here are some companies that we've had previously at our career events. And again, really great opportunities. Unfortunately, we cannot assign you an internship, but we can do the next best thing and give you, all the connections, all the opportunities we can. Speaking of our next employer info session, Applied Medical is actually going to be spoken for by one of our students who had gotten an internship during one of these career events, and now she's going to be heading an employer info session, which is awesome. So it definitely works.
And Lee,
oh.
we just had another student who was hired by
Did we?
Yeah.
Oh,
as a result of the career event. Yep.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, see, yeah, it's not just something that, we're saying. We get to see these students make these connections and meet these employers and get internships and then get hired. So, oh, that's so awesome, Susan. I didn't know that. Yeah, so that's it. Please, if you have any more questions on things that we didn't cover, we do have the RegSci website, or you can email us at regsci@usc.edu. We would love to answer any questions. So I'm going to open it up for Q&A. I don't know. We've been able to answer a few in the Q&A, but if anybody else has any questions, the floor is yours.
But it is, very much true in that this is really a small community. And so we see our students who are working in our consulting center or on tracks project get hired and then become hiring managers in turn and come back and recruit our students. Also, we have a kind of a diverse makeup of students in our classrooms. So we, as I mentioned, you could be a full-time or a part-time student. So in our classroom setting, we have full-time students along with working professionals. And so and we have international students and domestic students. As you know, the regulatory science is a very much of a global topic. And so having international students in the classroom is really helpful to understand kind of the global aspects of medical product development. We also all of our invited speakers are working professionals. And so the entire classroom setting becomes a networking opportunity. So every day is almost like an interview day, right?
Right.
Dr. Bain and Dr. Liberty and Dr. Kuo.
I just would point out in this picture, the top left picture, is from a mixer event that we had. It was networking. It's an organization that we have within our department. It's the Association of Students in Regulatory and Quality Sciences. So you can sign up to be part of this organization. And we do some team building work. We've hosted the mock interviews. We just had a guest speaker from the FDA do a webinar for us last week. Last night, as a matter of fact, we had another webinar with our local regulatory affairs organization that covers the Los Angeles and Orange County areas. And they did a career information event. So there were, I think, 5 people there from industry who talked about career pathways, how to handle yourself during an interview, just some really good tips and advice for our students. So we do lots of things like that. So when you come, you can absolutely join this group, and there's lots of things. We do fun things too. So.
And it's another leadership opportunity. They vote and they put in a new leadership board every year. So and then this other one, the upper right-hand corner, the photo is from our Bay Area alumni get together. And so we had many of our graduates work in the Bay Area, because there are a lot of companies up there, and those are a few of our graduates, relatively recent graduates. Actually, they're thriving in industry. And then the photo on the bottom is our recent graduating class. So that this is at the University Park campus. So we're on the Health Sciences campus, and then that's on the University Park campus. We're on the Health Sciences campus with the medical school and the pharmacy school, as well as the big medical centers and research centers.
Yeah, and just to say that this is an interaction, right? So you bring to us as much as we can bring to you, and learning from your experience and sharing what we know is all part of the project, part of the program that allows us to continue to feed back to you and to give you the kinds of insights you need for your progress.
So question about TOEFL, if you have master's degree, Lee's actually answering that. It's a little bit.
I can go ahead and answer it in person. So the English test score actually depends on your undergraduate degree. So unfortunately, if you got your undergraduate degree at an institution where English was not the main language being taught in, you do still need to submit an English test score, regardless of if you got your master's in an English-speaking institution. I don't know why. That's just the way that it's set up in the system. So yeah, it's dependent on your undergrad degree.
Are there any other questions? Again, please don't hesitate to reach out to us at recsci@usc.edu. If you have any other questions that come up, you can also find all of our admissions and program information on our website. I dropped the links in the chat. So yes, and feel free to follow us on social media. We're active on both LinkedIn and Instagram. Yes, then I'll just answer this live. So for Meng Mei, yes, so feel free to shoot us an email. That way we can schedule a meeting to discuss which program would better fit your career goals. Okay. So you can either email rexi@usc.edu, or I'll also drop my own email in the chat for everyone as well if you would like to schedule a meeting just to go over the admissions requirements, or if you're still deciding between our programs. Okay, so I think that brings us to the end of our information session today. Thank you everyone for coming and being a very attentive audience. We hope that you found our presentation very informative and insightful, and that we were able to answer all of your questions. Again, we look forward to receiving your applications, everyone. Thank you.
Hi, everyone.
Bye. Take care, everyone.